Okay, we are back on Real Boxing Talk, talking boxing, talking about real boxing, and I am going to do something I never thought I would do. I'm going to give a shout out to ESPN. Woo! And you're wondering why? We're going to have real boxing on ESPN this weekend. And that real boxing is going to be Teofimo Lopez and Vasiliy Lomachenko. And I didn't script either one of them, I don't think. This is amazing. Not only is this going to be an amazing bout, but the history of the two guys, what they've been able to accomplish, what this means for boxing coming up. There are so many things we can jump at it, but let's start with the bout itself. Charles, we've been screaming and clamoring about this fight, and now we've got this fight. What does this mean to the fight? I mean, what do you think? I'm going to ask a question here somehow. What do you think is going to be the key factor for either fighter?
Well, I mean, I think it's like anything else. It's like we say styles make fights, right? And it's about the guy that can impose his will. And I think that's going to be very interesting because we know about Lomachenko, about his ability to work out angles and do different things. And he's always seems to be in the right place. But then we also know lately that he seemed to be more susceptible to getting hit. You know, you look at Luke Campbell, that fight. You look at some other things where before he seemed untouchable. You know, you're like, oh, wow, okay, here's a guy doing this. You know, when you saw him fight Gary Russell Jr., right? Like his third fight ever as a professional, he's fighting guys like that. But he seemed like he was on the highest level. But in these last fights, you've seen him where at least he's been hit a little bit. So his style is going to come back because he's the ring veteran. He's been around. As John likes to say all the time, he mentioned about the amateur fights. I mean, the number of amateur fights. So he has experience, even though if it's not what we can see deemed as professional from our perspective, from American perspective. He has a lot of fights. But that, and then when you look at the other flip side of Lopez is this young, brash guy, man. He's hungry. He's like, 20-some years old, 23 years old. And what's ironic, when you look at the number of fights that he has already to compare to professional as Lomachenko, he's right there. But he's just younger. And this guy's fought some folks. He's hungry, and he has a style, and he's been studying the greats. And he literally believes that, okay, I think I'm ready. And that's what I love about it, that combination of the two. But the question is, he's brash, he can box, he can move, he has power, he has everything. But the question is, when the lights come on, and they will come on, with Lomachenko, we're going to find out if he's ready. And it's a shot that is worth taking for a young man like that. But again, it comes down to the styles and who can impose their will in the way that they fight on the other guy.
John, is this unprecedented? We have this much hype, this much excitement, 3 belts on the line for one guy who's 14-1 and another guy that's 15-0. There's reasons for that. We'll get into that. But isn't it just what?
It fits perfectly for the year 2020. I mean, it's ridiculous. It's I get your point, Frank. It doesn't add up to the way when we were younger. Usually, a guy would be 28-0, like Sugar Ray Leonard and Tommy Hearns were both undefeated. Obviously, they had over 20 fights between them. Here, you look at the records, and you go, not a lot of fights, but then you look at who Lomachenko has fought, and he obviously has been in there with a lot of better fighters than Lopez has been in. Mm-hmm. And then the amateur pedigree that Charles mentioned, to me, it's going to depend on who figures out who faster and who might have seen what the other guy does and vice versa. I tend to believe that whatever Lopez has, and he has a lot, Loma has seen it to some degree to another. I'm not sure that Lopez has seen what Lomachenko can do. Oh, he's got a sparring partner doing some things. But like Charles again said, under the lights, with everything on the line, all the pressure, suddenly what you think you know, you don't know. You know, he's like, wow, he's faster than I thought, or whatever. So it is really an intriguing fight. It's called the Battle of the Opposites. I mean, they are opposites in a lot of ways. as far as the brashness that's displayed by Lopez and the more low-key Lomachenko. Even though I even said in an article I wrote, Lopez is actually people tend to think when you're a real brash like that, you're not a nice kid. He's really a very nice kid, very well-mannered. I mean, he's not a jerk or anything like that sometimes is associated with that kind of ego thing. It's just totally believes in himself. And as we've said on this show lots of times, you better, if you're going to fight a guy like Lomachenko, you better believe that, yeah, you might quietly to your dad or something go, yeah, this guy's really good. But you're not going to say that. You're going to say, look, I'm going to beat this guy. I got him figured. He ain't nothing. So I like that too. I think that's good. But when he gets in there against Lomo, and he's got a size advantage, I watched a video, and Lomachenko was funny. He was looking at Lopez, and he goes, God, his biceps are so much bigger than mine. He's just a bigger guy, you know. So you know that Lomo's like, I call him the wizard, you know. He's and a scientist. He's like, he's taking all this in, thinking, wow, this guy's bigger than me, stronger than me, hits harder than me. What have I got to do to keep him at bay? So that's what's going to be very intriguing to watch. Again, what Charles said, who's going to figure out who's going to be doing more, who's going to be taking more chances. I would assume it's going to be Lopez because he's not going to think that Loma can hurt him. Right. But it's probably going to be a slow burner where it'll build as it goes on when guys start getting comfortable. But there's got to be a lot of respect here. These two guys are phenomenal talents.
Well, you look at Lomachenko and you say, okay, he fought for a world title in his second professional fight. But then you have to go back and say, this guy is a double medalist in the Olympics, meaning he stuck around for a while, meaning in this day and age, he didn't turn pro right away. So, you know, if you go back 40 years, you might appear in multiple Olympics, but not now. You know, you get your one out of the way, you turn pro, and you go from there. He didn't do that. So he gained his experience in the amateur ranks, as Charles said. So now we're at the point where he starts fighting for titles right away. And he's making people retire. I won't go down the list. You guys can look at that if you want to. But this is the thing that I think is fascinating by him. Without being a brute, he makes people quit. Now, hasn't done it for a few fights, but still it happened. And you're thinking, wait a second. What is he doing that people go, I don't want any more of this. I'm done. You know, is just being hurt, but also thinking, no matter what I do, I don't have a chance. So why take any more punishment? Because I'm not going to figure this guy out. I can't hit him. I can't find him, and he's hitting me. I don't know if Lopez has that in mind. Of course, I don't know if anyone else did when they got in the ring. Charles, is there a possibility, I know we're speculating on a lot of things, is there a possibility that kind of, and here's the word, craftiness, ding, of Lomachenko gets Lopez to that conclusion that I'm done. I don't know. Or is he that strong enough mentally that he's going to power through that?
Wow, that's a deep question. but
it had 27 shows. I had to get one in.
Right. No, that's a deep question. But it's a valid question. But because Lomachenko has the experience, he's been in there, like you said. When I was looking at his record earlier, it's like every fight professionally seems like it was a title fight. I mean, of course it would because it was he wanted. But I mean, literally, he was on the cusp of fighting the next guy, proving it was real quick. Okay, we're not gonna mess around. We've been waiting long enough. Fight for the title. Move on. So they did that for him. But so he is the veteran. He knows what's going on. And then when you look at Lopez, though, is hungry guy or whatever. But I'll say this: I don't think that's the case, and I'm gonna tell you why. I don't think that he's a guy Lopez is gonna quit. He's young, he's brash. He might be, people think, as he say, he's over the top. He might be too confident. But he appears to me what he showed, even against a great guy like Lomachenko, he gonna go out on his sword, man. Seriously. He's a guy that goes, even though I'm losing and this guy, I can't maybe figure him out, I'm gonna keep going till I can't go anymore. And if that means he gets knocked out, I think he'll think it's worth it because of the fact of that. And I'm not saying that these other guys are not good enough, or because he made, Lomo made, Rigondeaux quit.
Rigondeaux, yeah.
Rigondeaux. Rigondeaux is an undefeated champion, and he made him quit. But this Lopez,
I never thought that would happen, right?
yeah, it's a certain kind of, he's got a certain kind of moxie. He got a little something about him that's different. And granted, it's not to say that he won't ever get into the position where he goes, I don't know if I can fight anymore. But yeah, I can see him with a hematoma right here.
Right,
going,
right.
Oh, don't stop the fight. I just think that's who he is. He's a fighter like that, and he'll go out on the sword and maybe to his own demise, because that's who he is. You can just tell that he's like, I don't care. You don't stop it. I still think I have a chance, and that might be to his demise or whatever. But I don't think he will. He's gonna be that guy that's gonna quit. He literally is going to have to be stopped, or something's going to have to happen. All the time that he's in there, I think no matter what the situation, he's telling himself, I still got a damn chance.
Well, I think that this would be the situation where something unprecedented would happen. I would say that, okay, son, you can't go on anymore, and trainer / dad goes, I got him, I'm going. You know, we've been talking mess for the last however many months. He's going to have to be both of us. So, you know, dad's going to get in the ring and it's like, okay, you put your kid down, I'll put my kid down, and let's let the dads fight. You know, something stupid like that just to end the fight. But, yeah, but it's to the point where, like Charles said, you're looking at it, he's going to go out. And of course, we said this about other people too, that you're going to have to stop me before I retire. And then you see him on the stool going, nah, I'm not doing this. So that's going to be the psychological factor of this. Now, John, if you're Lomachenko and you have this in your background and you know I've made people quit before and this guy shows no quit, does that get into your psyche a little bit like, wait a second, I'm going to have to do more, or I may not be able to stop this guy, or may not be able to retire him, or this may become a war? Does that make him think a little bit differently than what he's normally thinking?
No, I don't think so, Frank. I don't think he's guilty of some of what some of us do, which is overthinking. I think he deals with what's right there in front of him, and he's not thinking knockout. He's thinking if he gets him hurt, sure, but there's a lot of ifs. You don't even know. You know, there's always the doubt, the fear of the unknown, or whatever you want to call it. He obviously believes he's going to win, but he's not sure how it's all going to go down. And if this happens, he'll do this. But he's not sitting there going, oh, if I can't make this guy quit, is that going to bother me? I don't think so. I do believe, though, just my opinion, that Lopez has got under his skin just a little bit with some of his talking, because he said something in a video, and I actually used this in an article on Max Boxing, where he said, where I come from, this is paraphrasing, the guy's talking like that, you go up and you punch him in the nose. And that's something that Lomachenko has never said before. And right. I was like, so what you got here is you got two ultra competitive, motivated people that want to win really badly. And then Lomo wants to show Lopez's dad, shouldn't have said all that. So, I mean, you really got a lot.
You want some? Come on. Yeah.
That's right. You got a lot of, I don't think it's personal with Lomo, and I don't even really believe Lopez when he keeps saying, yeah, it's personal. I don't think it is. That little altercation between Lomo and Lopez's dad, I mean, actually, I kind of agreed with Lomo. I saw where he said, what's he doing coming up to me like that for? That's dumb. That's stupid, you know, and he said he thought he was drinking. So I kind of, because Lomachenko is the ultimate professional. You know, he's been around. He's a two-time gold medalist, as you said. So this kind of stuff, he doesn't have time for that. All he's trying to do is get ready for Lopez, and he's definitely getting ready, and he has respect. So the mind games part, back to your question, stopping him, no, I think he just wants to beat him. I think he wants to beat him convincingly, and whatever happens, happens. If he quits, and I agree with Charles, by the way, I don't think Lopez quits. No way. If we're going in the 11th round and he's lost all 10, which I, of course, doubt, there's no way Lopez is going to quit. I don't think. The kid's got grit. And he's going to keep firing all the way to the end and go out on a sword or whatever. He's going to keep trying. But Lomo's going to frustrate. Lomachenko frustrates guys without trying to frustrate guys, just because he does things that guys don't see a lot. You know, the movement and his footwork and all that Lopez is poo-pooing like, well, we'll see. We'll see how you deal with that. again, I always bring up basketball. It's like when you see some guy out there and you go, God, looks pretty quick. And then you get out there against him and he's quicker than you thought.
Right.
Jeez. So we'll see. I mean, there's a lot of cliches with this fight, the young and the old guy and all that, the experience versus the inexperienced. But really, it's just two very talented fighters saying, okay, let's see who's better.
Well, Charles, you mentioned something earlier that Lomo has been susceptible to actually getting hit. He's been put on his butt a few times in the last 2 fights. Is this a possibility that a bigger hitter can keep him down?
I think that is a possibility. I mean, just because what Lopez represents, right? I mean, he's showing you the power, he's showing that too. But I think I'm going back to what John mentioned is about the veteran ringmanship of Lomachenko. Like he says, nothing he hadn't seen before. So it's not like he's going to be like, oh, I got to worry about him coming over here, because he always figures it out. So, yeah, I think there's a possibility with the power. But I think you got to give credit to Lomachenko. He's always, every task so far that we put him up against, he's risen to the occasion. And I think this time, not saying that he didn't take Luke Campbell or some other guys seriously, but he knows what's on the line. It's too much. This is the one. This is everybody's gonna be tuning in. You like Rigondeaux quit and all that. Everybody like, well, he kind of fight a little soft now. This is the one. You don't have to tell Lomachenko. This is the one that he can stamp his professional career on. You got a young hotshot guy running his mouth. It's exciting. It's explosive. Everybody's gonna be watching. This is the fight he can stamp. Get a stamp of approval, particularly in America. Not like he hasn't had it before, but now you're going against a guy other people know. So I think there's a chance because of the power, but I think the best of it, like you said, is going to be about the will. And then on the other flip side, Lopez knows that if he can win this fight and get past the great Lomachenko, all hell. I mean, you can't. He is now going to be like, hell, I'm like pound for pound, right? Who's next?
Right.
Who's next? So that, I think, it's kind of like when Floyd fought Canelo. When Canelo fought Floyd, he took a chance. And he's like, if I lose, I still win.
Right.
You know what I mean? And if I beat him, oh, my God. So I think that's where Lopez is like right now. He's like, I can't lose. And I might really get him. So, yeah, but I think that the balance of to get back to your question, the balance of the ringmanship and being the veteran that he is in Lomachenko is going to, he's still, there's a danger of him getting put down, but I think his ringmanship is going to really serve him well because there's nothing he hasn't seen before.
Well, John, the one thing that I see, or one of the things that I see, is that we're looking at two guys that they're going to try and impose their will on each other, obviously. But even though this is being fought at lightweight, Lopez started out at 140, 139 or whatever, somewhere around in there, whereas Lomachenko fought most of his amateur career and beginning of his professional career down to like 126. He's moved up because of these fights, but I don't think that he is going to be the bigger guy, obviously. He's a naturally smaller guy. I think Lopez could go up to 147 if necessary, and we'll get into that and money and all that later. But the idea of can Lopez wear Lomachenko down or lean on him or whatever, because I'm thinking at fight time, he is going to be the bigger, stronger guy.
Oh, yeah. I think that they watched the second fight that Lomachenko, the fight that he lost against Slido, and Slido was totally physical, did everything he could. He headbutted him, he threw him around, he did all that. They think they can do that. They think they're stronger, and I agree. I think Lopez is a stronger guy. But again, Lomachenko, this is his second pro fight. He still might have been a little in the amateur game a little bit, and he didn't deal with it well. When other guys tried to emulate some of the things Slido did, he dealt with it like it was nothing. So he's going to be ready for something like that, and I would anticipate that he's anticipating that. I would think that if I'm Lomo, I'm thinking, okay, he's bigger than me. He's going to try to rough me up. He's going to try to do things on the inside. He's going to do all that. So I'm going to be ready, and I'm going to counter him with quickness. The fight that you're talking about, him getting hit, Linares knocked him down, knocked Lomachenko down. And Linares is really a talented fighter. I mean, cuts and all that stuff. But, I mean, this is a guy that you could kind of compare in a sense because he's also a lightweight. He's very fast. He's got some pop. And he dropped Lomachenko. And people forget is that fight was very close, too, when it was when he ended it with a body shot in the 10th round. So that might be something you could compare a little bit. But again, that's another fight and another fighter. I tend to believe that both guys are going to be about as primed as they could be. Not that Lomo wasn't primed up against Linares. He was, but I think he's used to fighting at 135 more now. He did get hit with that uppercut against Campbell. I think he's getting hit more, guys, because he takes more chances now than he was doing when he was earlier. You know, and I really don't think he's lost anything yet, but he's trying to stop guys. He's trying to be more dynamic, I think, and when you do that, you're not necessarily reckless, but you're going to get hit with a shot. And so, yeah, he can certainly be hit. Can he take it? That's what we're going to find out, because, you know, I don't mean to jump ahead 2 weeks, but I'm going to anyway. It's like Charles's guy.
Pause.
Leo Santa Cruz. Will he be able to take it when Davis nails him with a shot? So that's always the intangible about boxing. If Lopez nails him with a big uppercut and Lomachenko just looks at him, that is the question about the mentality of Lopez. If Lopez thinks, holy crap, I hit him with my best shot, and he's just looking at me, doesn't smile, he just looks at me. I think that might bother him a little bit. I do. I think that, because he wants a knockout. He's been talking about it for weeks. Right. So we're going to see. I think, though, Lomachenko, I just don't think he's going to take as many chances he's been taking, because he respects the kid's power. I think he's going to do what he's doing, outbox him, and try his hardest not to get tested by one of those power shots.
Okay, so Charles, what kind of fight can we expect to see? When we're talking styles make fights and blah, 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 and all that, are we looking at an action fight or a chess match?
I think it's a chess match. I mean, I think Lopez wants to make it an action fight, because if I get him somewhere early and put him out of his position, I can take him down. But I think Lomachenko's like, you know what? The longer it goes, the better off I am, because now you have to adjust to what I'm trying to do. So, and you talk about the angles and the miss and in the movement, and that all of that energy burned on early on is kind of like one of those things that we hear, that old cliche of fighter said, we know, like, you know, Tank Davis said, they say about him, where, you know, the first 6 rounds, if you can last out that, you can take him to deep waters and you can drown him, because all of that energy, he's all fired up that way too, because he's trying to get the knockout. So the question is, as a smart fighter that Lopez is he going to release all that energy early on? Is he going to have something afterward? So I think it's a chess match, simply because of that factor. And Lomachenko doesn't have to be he's going to, I think, kind of see how things are going early on. And if there's an opportunity for him to hit a shot, or he feels like he's making an advantage, he'll step up to it. But he's knowing he's in no rush. He's the veteran. He's the guy. He knows he's older. And it's like, you're the one that he's telling Lopez, you're the guy that wants to knock out. You're trying to flash. I just want to win.
Yeah.
John, what do you think?
Yeah, I concur. I think it'd be very tactical in the first few rounds because of respect. I think it could turn into an occasional, not a firefight, but occasional bursts of activity, depending on the round. I think probably the first 2, 3, 4, 5 rounds will be more tactical, and then we'll see what's going on. If Lomo's winning and frustrating Lopez, then you know he's going to pretty much keep doing that. And then later on, if he gets it in his brain that he really wants to hurt Lopez, you know, like Joe Louis wanted to do to two-time Tony Galento because he got tired of him calling him up every night and telling him he was going to murder him. Then we'll see if he goes further about it. But if he's just in there like Charles, and I tend to agree, to win, it's going to be up to Lopez to do something to change where the fight is going. I think it could get more, like I said, more of a, not necessarily a firefight, but more of not a brawl either, but more action. Let's just say that sustained action that the fans love later in the fight. If Lopez is losing, or if Lomo thinks, okay, I got him tired now, I think I'm going to take some shots. But I think Lomachenko's going in there with the mindset, I'm going to outbox this kid. I'm going to show him things he's never seen. He's not going to deal with this. And Lopez is like, I'm going to push him around. I'm going to throw him around. I'm going to do everything I can to get him off his game so that I can catch him with something wicked and knock him out. I really believe that's happening. But the edge goes to Lomo just because for all the reasons we've been saying. Experience, been in big fights, fought better guys. He's got all those things. He'll be bringing in the ring with him on Saturday night.
Well, not to, and I know we have a tendency to go, and he, and that we mean one guy instead of he, meaning both. And so I think we've already shaded what we're talking about. But the thing about Lomachenko, and I've been thinking about this while you guys were talking, that he's one of the few fighters, or the best at, maybe I better put it that way, of being in the pocket and still not getting hit. You know, most people, if they get like a Joe Frazier, I'm going to get right inside, but if you hit me, you hit me. I don't care. Or Tyson, if you hit me, you hit me. I'm hitting you back. Most guys that are quote unquote stylists, I put it that way, fight from distance because they don't want to be hit, and then they change angles from that. Lomachenko will get right up on top of you and dare you to hit him, and then you can't hit him, and then he does what he has to do. Kind of like with being more offensive, I'm thinking of a Pernell Whitaker. I don't know if there's anybody else that I can think of that just jumped inside of you and was still so comfortable fighting their fight, they weren't overly concerned about what you were returning. Can you think of anything? And I know that's a weird way of looking at it, I think, but this is a weird guy. So, Charles, can you think of anybody as a fighter you went, this is my comparison of how he fights or close to how he fights?
Like you mentioned, Pernell Whitaker, you know, and I think that's major. And I know you're gonna get tired of me. He's beating that same dead horse. But I think when you watch the shoulder roll with the Mayweathers from back, you know, with their family, and I think we're so used to watching Floyd Mayweather with his out quick people in box, right? But a lot of times you'll see him just standing and looking at a person and be right in front, and as you say, the guy will miss and he'll wait and then he'll pop up. And I think that's the same thing that Lomachenko does. He waits and he has that angle. If you make a mistake, he sees the opening, he's able to deliver. So, and I think there's only a few individuals. You know, it's one of those things where they say certain boxers tell you, I can stand right in front of, they can stand right in front of somebody, and they dare you to try to hit them. And they like,
yeah, that's scary.
Yeah, but and it's real though.
Yeah.
There are only a few guys. I think Lomachenko is definitely one of those guys. They can stand right that close, and he say, I want you to hit me right here. And the guy goes, and he's able to move, and you can't hit him. That's a special art. But I think because some people are so used to boxing and moving around like Floyd, that you miss how close he really is. But Lomachenko has really taken that to another level, so much to the point that we consider him he might be the top guy right now who does that, because the angles are so bizarre. Because you're like, why? I mean, you know, I think Pacquiao was like that at times. You can see him coming from way over here, and you go, what the hell? Especially early in his career, once he started to figure things out. But yeah, I think Lomachenko right now, no doubt, is the guy that is a master at, you think you see me, then you don't. But then again, I'm over here. You know, so yeah, I think he's great at that.
Well, to me, it's I'm right in front of you, but I'm not. So when you think that I'm right in front of you, and by the time you react to me being right in front of you, I'm on the side hitting you in the ribs. You know? So any comparison that you can think of, John?
Yeah, we talk about the man every show, it seems like. When I saw Floyd Mayweather, I was there and I watched him against Robert Guerrero. I noted that David Copperfield was also playing in Las Vegas, and that was what I compared it to. That's what I compared it to. He's like, here I am. No, I'm not. I'm standing right in front of you. Well, I was. You know, by the time you get ready to throw a punch, I'm over to your left or your right. And people don't like that, but Charles hit the word. It's an art to be able to do that. It is. And I really get angry at people, not angry, get annoyed, when they don't recognize how difficult that is. People just want to see two guys throwing punches, nailing each other. But there's an art to that. And Lomachenko has that same type of thinking where, you know, I'm right here, but then again, you better not blink because I'm going to be the other way. The guy I always end up talking about too, because I saw him do it in fights when he was earlier, before he was gone for a few years, was Andre Ward. He would do a lot of that, but he would also get inside And if you were talking tough like Alan Green was years ago, saying he can't fight on the inside, Andre Ward will go, "Oh yeah." So you got to admire that these guys are so competitive and all that. But back to the art of Lomachenko. Yeah, he Muhammad Ali. Remember when he was younger, he could lean back and anticipate punches, and that's everybody else. Don't ever lean back. Don't ever lean back. Well, when he was younger, he could get away with it. And kind of back to what we said, Frank, maybe the difference is too is that maybe Lomo is getting hit more now because, yeah, he's an artist, he's a wizard, he's all those things, but he just might have lost just a touch. So now he gets clipped every now and then when he wouldn't have 2 or 3 years ago. So, but again, always a lot of intangibles.
Well, I had 3 guys in mind other than Pernell Whitaker and Floyd Mayweather. The thing that Lomachenko does, I think, better than anyone, he's right here. Where's the ankle at? There, whatever it is. All right, but if it's, say, a Roy Jones Jr. or a Prince Nazim Ahmed, those are the 2 that really popped out of me. They were trying to do the same thing, but they were a little further away. I'm going to goad you into thinking I'm right on top of you, but I'm at range where I can get away from it. Lomo's like, I'm right there. And then I forgot who the third one was. But you have those guys that are right on top of you, or not right on top of you, but they're trying to make it appear that they're right on top. Joe Calzaghe is the other one I was thinking of, I'm sorry, that made it appear as if he was closer than he really was because he's got his hands down and he's mugging and doing all this, but he also knows that the other person's arm won't reach him.
Lomachenko, master of distances. That's what it is.
Right.
That's
true.
The
distances. But Lomo is inside of the other guy's range, as witnessed by the poster behind you. He's inside the other guy's range and still not getting hit. And I agree with Charles about Floyd Mayweather Jr., but he also mastered range a little bit better.
Yeah.
Or I don't know if better is the right word, but differently. Because the thing that I see with Lomachenko and Pernell Whitaker would get right inside of you and go, you still can't hit me. Now, you didn't have to worry about him hitting you back too much, but you still couldn't touch him. If you go back to the De La Hoya fight, which I love to do, it's like, you didn't touch me. How did you win a fight if you didn't touch me? But Lomachenko's doing that and hitting back at the same time. That's the part that's impressive with me. So, I can see a lot of things going on, but Charles, what does Teofimo have to do to win this fight? Since we've already said we believe it's going to be the other way around.
Yeah, I think that he has to be patient. I really do. I think that's key because that's easy to say about a 20-something-year-old, right? A guy with all that pop, all that excitement, and is used to knocking people out. I think he has to be patient. And then part of that means he has to box, okay? You have to set things up. And you have to be in a position where, let's say you get an opportunity where Lomachenko has lost a step, right? You got to be patient enough not to go, okay, first round, I'm going to get him. I mean, I'm so fired up on him. But then, like, at that point, and I think, and it's not to keep bringing Floyd in, but the mindset of the plan. Okay, round 3, you see now that he's dropping his right hand, right? So now we're going to wait. And now we're going to execute. We don't have to go at it in the whole way, but it's the execution. He has to box, he has to be patient, and he has to wait his turn. If there's a chance for an early knockout, everybody would try for it. I mean, it's the right thing to do. You go after it, right? But if it's not happening, then you have to get those skills and say inside that you worked on and say, okay, I'm going to box him, I'm going to wear him down, combinations, whatnot. And if he does that, as they start to go into deep waters, and let's say Lomachenko starts to falter or tire or whatever it may be, and those hands start dropping a little bit, then he can unleash that fury. And I think the patience is the key because he's going to come in there like wildfire trying to show everybody. It's just natural. That's what young guys do, right? They come in, they try to go, oh, man, I got him out in the second round. But the key is he's going to have to show patience. And if he can do that and then also show that he's more of what I love to call a technician. I can box you, I can knock you out, but I also can box and be that technician, find out what's working, take my time. And as you guys mentioned about that slow burn. Okay, slow burn's coming. It's around 6. I think I can take you out now. but it's about being patient, relaxing, letting it develop, letting things come together, and taking advantage of the opportunities when they arise.
Well, John, it's kind of like when you talk about baseball. You know, you're hitting a $128 off of somebody, and then in a crucial situation, you take him deep. Is this kind of I'm not worried about for Teofimo Lopez? I'm not worried about winning the fight, more as I'm waiting to capitalize on a mistake. Because as great as Lomachenko is, he's going to make at least 3 or 4 mistakes during the course of the fight. Is it staying composed, being ready, and then taking care of that mistake? Because I think, and I'm going to jump ahead here, he's going to have to win by knockout. So
Yeah.
Is that what he does? Or I'm sorry, go ahead, finish.
If he can do all those things, that's going to be the fun. Because I was, as we're talking, I'm just thinking that I think he's going to be more nervous than he's ever been in his whole life before this fight. When he's walking to the ring, he's going to have the butterflies going. So, in other words, it's going to take him a few rounds to settle down. It might be a good thing because he can settle into a rhythm, right? So he's going to have to do – go ahead.
To clarify that, when we say nervous in sports, we don't mean scared. We just mean ah!
Yeah, right. It's all the buildup. Oh, it's not
right.
fear. It's just because you're anxious to get in there. It's like anything, you know. When you guys played basketball, when I played, yeah, we were nervous. Your legs might have felt some funny, but when I got hit by somebody or bumped or went down, then it was like, all that's all done. So it's the same thing with him. As soon as he gets clipped or whatever, he'll be okay. But again, I think it might help him to keep his mindset on whatever his plan might be. And that's an excellent plan that Charles was talking about. I just don't know if he can do it that long, especially if he falls behind on the scorecards and his dad's saying, hey, I think we're losing here. I don't know if I would say that if I was his dad. I'd just say you're doing well, unless it's completely done and you're losing every round. Like, you got to get a knockout, kid. You're blowing it, kid. You know, we got to get a knockout.
You're blowing it, kid. You got to go get him.
That's right. So, yeah, it's just going to be very hard for Lopez because all the talk, as we know, here comes a cliche, talk is cheap. So he's going to get in there and he's going to be facing this guy, and no matter what, again, he said he's got respect for him, and he's going to try to stick to his plan, but Lomachenko also has a plan, and he's going to I was watching Lopez's dad watching Lomachenko fight, and he's going, he doesn't even have a jab. He's just got a pitter-pat. Well, okay, maybe his jab is pitter-pat, but you know what? That knocks you off your rhythm. Mm-hmm. That makes it so you can't load up and throw one of those bombs or do whatever you want to do. And when you're getting hit in the nose, even if it's not that hard, one, it's annoying. Two, it might hurt a little bit. You know, you're getting hit here. So he's going to have to get into the rhythm of the fight to have a chance to win. And I'll jump ahead with you, Frank. I think for him to win, it's going to have to be by knockout.
Well, I'm looking at the picture behind Charles there, and that guy didn't throw a very strong jab either. He just flicked it in your face for 10, 12 rounds until you're like, and it was like getting hit with a knife. It wasn't like getting hit with a punch. So he's slicing you up. So it doesn't have to be that Larry Holmes jackhammer of a jab. It can be that annoying for 13 rounds or 10 rounds or whatever we're talking about right now, to where I can't get this out of my face, and it's really starting to bother me, and it hurts. An accumulation of those over the course of time. So, okay, so we've already made our statement, I guess. Charles, what do you think? Complete end of the fight.
End of the fight. My head says one thing, my heart says another, but I'm going to say I think that Lomachenko has the advantage because of the factor that he's been there. You always talk about the younger guy. There's always a chance. Okay, he's talented. He's going to be great. That day could be his day. But I think you have to err on the side of caution and give Lomachenko his due, because he's shown you that he's already there. Great fight. I do agree too that the way that Lomachenko fights, and he doesn't really kind of put himself in bad positions often, which might be an exception this time, that Lopez is probably going to need a knockout if he's looking to try to win on cards. I think the only way he does that, he's going to literally, for the judge, he's going to have to cut him up real bad. Yeah. You know, when you see that visible wear and tear on the face with the eye closed and bad cuts, and then you go, okay, well, you can see the physical damage is more visible, then that might be the way that Lopez could get a decision. But otherwise, he's going to have to really hurt him bad, and because he's the underdog. I mean, he comes out, he says, yeah, I'm young, I'm brash, I'm great. But I think even though they won't say it, and we know judges don't do this ahead of time. I said this before, and I'm not trying to say they're going to change it anyway, but I think, and I said this before, that judges have a preconceived notion how they expect fighters to fight. If they've seen you before, and it's like, okay, Lomo did this, and this kid's coming after him, but Lomo put that Lomo on him, that Lomo, whatever you call that Lomo, whatever he's doing.
That's good right there. I like that, yeah.
Put that Lomo on him, and then that allows him, that kind of shrunk this kid to realize that he's not ready yet. But if you see Lopez, on the other hand, is able to kind of attack the Lomo and then get inside the Lomo and start to dominate and do some things and make that Lomo not look as magnificent as we've seen in the past, then I think that's how Lopez is going to break it down. I know we say, no, judges don't think that way, but I think they do. And I know you're still mad at me, Frank. I think that's why your boy Marvin Hagler lost to Sugar Ray, because he didn't fight the way he's supposed to. He has been fighting forever. And that's why they looked at it, because they had a preconceived notion of what they thought he was going to do. And when he didn't do that, they're like, he's running around doing all this and that. They're like,
that's not you, right?
Yeah, exactly. So,
Well, this is when we had Max DeLuca on. This was part of the got cut because it didn't fit into that part of the show. I meant to do it again later, and I just didn't recut it. But he said we take it round by round, guy by guy, fight by fight, blah 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 blah, and he's being absolutely sincere. And in my head, I'm going, I don't think so. I mean, he didn't lead me to believe anything other than that. But I'm like, no, I'm sorry. Because that was the question I asked. If you've got a guy who's a slugger or a guy who's a stylist or something like that, are you looking at scoring it based on that? It's like, no, we take it by blah, blah. I'm like, okay. And I believe that that's what you think, but I don't believe humanly you can do that. Your visual is adjusted by what your brain is telling you you're going to see. Now, does it go completely overboard with that? I don't know. But if it's a close, like you said, it's a close fight, and you're scoring it like Charles said with the Hagler fight, you're scoring it based on what you thought he was supposed to do, and he didn't do it, then that's where you take a point away. Maybe it's only one or two here and there, but I think so. So, yeah, sorry, Max, if you're paying attention. I really want to have you on again, but
well, Frank, that might be the goal. Frank, that might be the goal going in. What he said was that's what you want to do when you go in, but you said it right. The human part gets in the way,
right,
and it takes over before that preconceived idea in your brain. So you're thinking, okay, I'm going to do this. This is one fighter, another fighter, but you got that. It's like a jury. I love it, and not love it, but it cracks me up when a lawyer will intentionally say something that's inflammatory, and the judge will go, will you just disregard what he just said? You can't disregard what he just said. It's planted in the brain.
Right, yeah, that's
right. So it's that same thing. It's in there. It's in the lobe here, in the frontal part of the cranium. So you can't help it. And so I believe most judges do go in with a clear conscience on what they are hoping to do, but then all the rest of it gets mixed up in there, and then you have those crazy scoring sometimes.
Well, this goes back to what we were talking about off air. This is your 12 Angry Men reference. It's like everyone, they knew what there was supposed to be before they asked about what the evidence told them. So, yeah. And it's something where another thing that Max said, and I was kind of joking, I said, would it be better for you to score a fight at the fight with earplugs in? And he said, well, I hadn't thought about that, but sometimes it might be. Because you are influenced by the crowd. You are influenced by the sound. You are influenced by the announcers. You're influenced by a lot of other things instead of being, what am I seeing? And we've done that when we've been watching previously the fights either for the first time or watching them again and scoring them without the commentary and the sound going on. It's like, I didn't see that before. I didn't feel that before. I'm just watching punch thrown and punches landed. A lot different than when you've got, no offense, Jim Lampley or somebody, and you're going, great fight. He's doing it. It's like, but he didn't hit him, Jim. Now, from Jim's angle, he might have been hitting him. But from the TV angle that we're seeing, he wasn't touching him. Now, that's not to say Jim Lampley is a bad announcer. I'm just saying that's the first name that came to mind. You be quiet.
Tell Max it's my fault. You can blame me.
Max, it's Charles' fault, not my fault. All right, so let's look at this real quick, and then we'll move on to the other big subject in here. So we've got the I'll make sure I've got these right now. The WBA, the IBF, and the WBO belts on the line, and the WC belt is held by Devin Haney. Now, if you're Devin Haney, and I don't have the schedule, is he fighting anyone coming up anytime soon? I can't recall.
He had an injury, so he's not.
Yeah, right. That's what I thought. Okay.
He's not gonna fight Gamboa.
There was talk that he was going to fight, and I'm trying to remember who it was, and I don't know why Rigondeaux popped into my brain, but I don't think. Oh no, he's going to fight Gamboa.
Yeah,
he is going to fight Gamboa. I'm just not sure when he's going to fight Gamboa, but yeah, Devin Haney's going to be back. I don't know if it's by the end of the year or early next year, but he's getting ready.
So it's, and pardon me for using this phrase again, it's easy to assume, or whatever the hell I used to say. Now I'm trying not to say it, so I can't say it. But to assume that the winner of Haney-Gamboa gets the winner of this fight for unification. I know that's an easy thing to assume, and it probably doesn't happen that way. But if we're looking at it that way, is Haney sitting back, and I know you're not looking past Gamboa, that would be a stupid thing to do, but is Haney sitting there going, do I want one or the other? Or I just take what I get coming down the road? And we're assuming Haney is the favorite against Gamboa. Gamboa's a hell of a fighter. But let's just say you're sitting back there going, do I want an older Lomachenko? Or do I want a younger, stronger, more confident Lopez? Charles?
Ooh, that's a tough one. Because I guess, I'm going to answer the question. I'm not going to change it. Anyway, I'm not going to change it. I'm going to answer the question. I think that Haney probably will prefer, if probably more of probably he'll prefer Lomachenko, and I'm gonna tell you why. Just because of the fact that we said Lomachenko's getting older, we've seen some spots, and then we don't know what kind of damage is going to happen with Lopez, right? And Lomachenko still is crafty, as we like to say that word, impossible. Ding. But imagine if Lopez wins that fight. You beat the great Lomachenko. You're gonna have something on your hands that is gonna be so dangerous. And I don't think he's gonna have a big head in regards to Lopez as is concerned, but I think he's gonna come in like
confidence. Yeah,
there's nobody. Now I got the guy. I got the guy. So Haney, the question is, are you ready? And I guess that's the question too. Would be after Haney, if he does dispose of Gamboa, is he worthwhile? I mean, granted, we talked about the title, but is he worthy of being next? Because that person, if Lopez wins, there's so many other opportunities out there for him. And when you think about it, there's a lot of people that would love to get a taste. We already know. I'm not even gonna say the names, but we know those names are in that area, and that area where you can go up, or you can come back down. So you kind of like the king then. So the question is, what do you want to do? So the question is and I know this is different, but as I would say, like I said, I prefer a Lomachenko. But the question is, of the winner of that, the question for me would be, is Haney worthy?
Okay.
Of a
that
shot?
Didn't answer my question, but it raised another question. Cool.
Wow.
No, that's what we like. That's better than this. Yeah, that's really.
I said Lomachenko. It took me a while, but I said Lomachenko.
Stick your move, champ. Stick your move, champ.
Showing that footwork like that. He's like the Matrix, like Lomachenko. I'm here now. I'm not here.
Look, Mayweather.
They can't hit what they can't see. Stick your move, champ. All right, so John, if to change that around a little bit, and is Haney the logical challenger for this class, or does this bring in Mikey Garcia or someone else that's moved up that shouldn't have moved up? Or does this say, because as I mentioned earlier, I can see Lopez moving up to 147 at some point. Is this something where, fill in the blanks here?
Mikey, I don't think he's ever going to fight at 135 again, Frank. I
Okay.
think 140 is possible, but I think he's over 30 now, and he doesn't
Right.
want to kill himself to get down to
But
135.
that's
Yeah, exactly.
We're moving up and moving down.
Yeah, and that wouldn't be wise. He looked pretty good against Jesse Vargas, so we'll give him that his last fight. Those young guys that are taking over, and that's Lopez's nickname is the takeover. There you got some really, because you got Ryan Garcia too that you got to throw in the mix. So you've got both
Right.
of them. I don't really think Haney is really ready for Lomachenko or Lopez. I mean, he is and he isn't. So it would depend on his management team. I mean, he might be both of them. I'm seriously at some point, because he's that talented. He's got a
Right.
style that would give both of them all kinds of problems. So if I win, if Lomo wins or Lopez, I don't know if we made our predictions, but I leaning Lomo win a decision in this fight. I don't think he's going to fight if he wins. I don't think he's going to fight Devin Haney right away. I think he'd fight somebody else. And then Lopez, you're right, Frank. He's a bigger guy. I think he's only got maybe one more fight at 135. This might be it. If he wins, he might just go, that's it.
Over 140.
I beat the man. I'm moving up to 140 to take them on. And then he's got Josh Taylor. He's got the Rougarou. I mean, holy crap.
Yeah.
I mean, you're talking some matchups. Jose Ramirez. I mean, you've got some fights that you're just, So no matter what, again, I always love to do this because obviously I love boxing, but I love the fact that these littler guys are just so talented and they're right at the same time. So we probably will get to see some real barn burners. And yeah, Lopez definitely move up to 147, Frank. I believe so. He's 5'8", 5'9". He's got a pretty big frame. He can get up to 147 easily, and he probably at some point is going to prefer it because I think he's got a nutritionist now that helps him, but he basically has to starve himself to stay at 135. Right. So yeah, I think that's where he's going in the near future. He's only 23.
See, this is where when I make my declarations of how things should change and the consolidating weight classes, this is where I say, shut up, you're wrong. Because it's good to have, from 135 to 140 to 147. It's not always perfect. I still want to get rid of all the belts. But in this case, it's like, okay, Lomo is as big as he's going to get, I'm going to assume. He's not going up to 140. Right?
No.
And he's really not even 135. You say Mikey's not coming down to 135, but he can land at 140 and be okay. And then, as you said, you've got old Josh Taylor and all those other guys at 140, and then you've got some guys at 147 that maybe could slide down to 140. So there's so many things that could happen. It would be there's a question here, but I'm not quite sure how to word it yet. Is it better for boxing? And this is a free-for-all, so if you don't want to answer, don't answer it. Is it better for boxing in the future if Teofimo Lopez wins because it opens up so many other doors? If Lomachenko wins, I'm not sure where the next best matchup is for him and how many more doors that opens up for anybody else. Because it's almost as if you're saying he wins this fight. If Haney's not an option right away, he's almost cleaned out the division.
One guy you're forgetting about, Frank. I think if Lomo wins, he fights Davis. As long as Davis beats Leo Santa Cruz. I think that would be what he's thinking.
Okay, so we're going to go there. Okay. That's
we're going there.
That's what I was wondering.
Yeah.
Because and I know Charles hasn't been able to open his mouth yet, which, good job, by the way. It's the idea. See, and we brought this up a few months ago the possibility of Santa Cruz Lomachenko. And now we add in Tank as well. So there is that, but is that opening up more? Again, it's a myriad of things we can think of. Does that open more things than Lopez being at 135/140? Again, it's a free for all. So if you want to answer it. If not, I've got other stuff I'm thinking of too.
No, it's a great question, but I think, like you said, if Lopez
2 on 1 show. Wow.
Yeah,
Three.
Oh. And
Lopez,
thank you very much, and we'll see you next week.
If Lopez wins, of course, then he can go up, right? But I think that is exciting because some of the other guys on the upper end are like, yeah, okay, we can do that. Don't know how quick it's going to happen at 147. But I like that other part on the loan. I think it's a win-win both ways because if Lomachenko wins, even though it may not be right away, there's one guy you did not mention. And, I'm going to put his name out there, and he's already mentioned Lomo in his predictions, and that is Mr. Stevenson, Shakur Stevenson. I think
Reading my mind.
Yeah, there we go. Right. I forgot about him. I tend to.
That's
right.
Yeah, that's another guy that, you're not going to be able to hold him out too much longer. And that opportunity will be there. Then you open the door. He's mentioned Santa Cruz as well. And so, and Stevenson's going to get a little bigger. I don't know about that 147, but he's going to get a little bigger. And that's going to open the door for a lot of things. But so, I think there's a dynamite roster of individuals that would love to have a shot. And one other guy, even though we kind of threw him on the back burner and thinking he's out the box and out the way, maybe somebody just might give him one more chance to see if he's real. And that's Gary Russell Jr. Let's keep it real, man. Let's see. Somebody might say, all right, man, we're either going to let you prove yourself or we're going to put you out the pasture. One of the two. So,
well, and it would be a nice redemption story against Lomachenko. It would be a nice thing to say, I came back and I'm still a champ and I'm still going to take this guy who took me down and I'm back. But, okay.
Let me just say this real quick. I don't think he'll ever see another shot with Lomachenko. Ever. Because it's like.
So what you saying for?
Well, but somebody else, though. Somebody else might fight Gary Russell Jr.
Oh, okay.
Lomachenko is like, I've crossed that bridge. What do I need to prove?
Right.
Why? What have you done that is proven to me that you're worthy of another shot? And I beat you my third fight of my professional career.
Right.
What have you done since then that makes me go, oh, yeah, that Gary Russell Jr. deserves a shot? One, it's not going to be enough money. Who's going to watch it? There's not enough intangibles to make it worth the risk, I guess, is what I'm trying to say.
Okay. John, you have thoughts in your eyes.
Yeah, well, because Lomachenko, back to Lomachenko for a minute, he's all about belts. He loves the belts, just like Golovkin. So he wants to be the unified champion. So if he wins on Saturday, he'll have 4 of them, if I'm counting correctly, right?
Right.
So he wants all of them. So you said Devin Haney is the other champ. The WBC, is Haney the WBC champion?
Correct, yes.
Yeah. So he might take that fight because he wants the belts. He's greedy, wants all the belts. But I think, boxing wins Saturday, just because no matter what, no matter who wins. A loss by Lomachenko would obviously hurt him badly, his legacy. Everybody would say, see, he was overrated, he wasn't that good anyway and all that. But if he wins, he's got whatever he wants to do. If he wants to move down and fight, well, I was thinking about Shakur too. He won't fight him right away, Charles. No way. But he's got plenty of guys he could fight at 130. They were talking about him fighting Inoue, the monster. He go down to 126.
Right.
Meet the monster at 126.
Yes, he could.
So the Matrix is can do pretty much whatever he wants. He won't move up to 140. No way. He's already admitted, look, 135, that's hard for me as it is.
That's the top, right? Yeah.
He's a little guy, He's not a big guy, as we know. So if he wins, I wouldn't be surprised if he even moved that back down to 130 for a while and took on like Josh Warrington. He can go to London and fight Warrington. That would be an incredible fight. That would sell 80,000 tickets if he went there. He hasn't done that. So he's got the cat by the tail. Anything he really wants to do. And Lopez too. Lopez wins. Lopez loses. He says it killed me to make 135. That's the only reason I lost. Lomachenko's a bum. I'm moving up to 140 to fight those guys because that's who I really want to fight anyway. Go F yourself, Lomachenko. I'm done with you. So, I mean, he could say that, and you could say, yeah, because he's a bigger guy. Like we said, he's younger, he's getting bigger, he's eating, he's married, and all that stuff. So, it's the world the world is these guys. See, Charles, I'm trying to keep a straight face. The world is these guys' oysters. Whatever they want to do, they pretty much got it at this point. And we just, as boxing fans and writers and everything, we just sit back and enjoy it because there's just so many great possibilities.
Well, I could see, because this is the way things work out, and this is mostly a joke, but Adrian Broner's looking for a fight. Maybe he goes to 140. Never mind. Okay. Now, the way things are set up now, I think the outcome is, to me, no matter what happens for Teofimo Lopez, he's going to come, unless he just gets blasted out of the box and is done in 3 rounds. Like you said, he's probably done at 135. So he's probably moving up, or can move up. If he wins, he may stay there for another fight or 2, but I think he's going to move up. Right, so he's in that mix. That's good for him. If he wins, Lomachenko, as you said, can still move down. He can still find other fights because he's still a viable commodity. I like the Inoue idea. That would be fantastic. I'd get on a boat to wherever they put that one. That would be fantastic. But so I think it's like you said, I think it's a win-win. Either one wins, I still think we get good stuff out of it from that. So this is a great match. I'm glad they put it together. Again, thank you, ESPN, for putting this together. And I know you're rolling your eyes, I'm rolling my eyes, but I'm going to thank ESPN. I don't believe it. So, and that way they won't cut us off and squeeze us out of things. There you go. Thank you, ESPN.
There you go.
Is that the alarm clock, or which one is that?
No, I'm not gonna tell you what that is.
That's not the football phone, is it? Okay.
No.
All right. So
that was complimentary. Thank you.
Oh well, excuse me. Yes. Okay. I don't even know what the compliments were for.
Charles knows everybody, Frank. You know that.
Yeah. I'm not sure what he did to provide the compliments, but we'll move on from there. Anyhow, okay. So
you said that.
Yes, I did. So we got that out of the way,
Hater.
and I think hater, right? Speaking, good segue. Speaking of haters, now we had something happen that I don't know if it's good for the world of boxing or not. John, since you brought it up, I'll let you break the story, so to speak.
Well, the Wilder Fury third fight is off, according to pretty much everybody. Wilder's team hasn't said anything. Maybe they're trying to scramble to get it back on, but it sounds like Fury has moved on. He's looking for an opponent in December. Bob Arum, the lawyer, he's the promoter for Fury, is like, no, they don't have a leg to stand on. There was so much time, I guess, and if the fight didn't happen, then Fury could move on. But again, I'm thinking, well, yeah, but there was the pandemic. So I'm thinking, like, wait a minute, there has been some things going on here but let's just say it's off, and it most likely is. Like we said off air, I think this is the best thing that ever happened to Wilder. He might not agree because he's a fighter and he's got an ego and he hates what happened to him in the last fight. He's an athlete. I should say that. Nobody wants to have their last fight where you got your butt kicked like he did.
Right.
But this is a real opportunity for him because he's been very, very quiet, which I find very interesting. He hasn't said anything. He won't do any interviews. I contacted Tim Smith, and he's not doing any interviews. So I hope that he takes this as a good thing, talking Wilder. And he's working with his new trainer, Malik Scott, who's a hell of a boxer, as we know, and we've already talked about Mark Breland, which is sad and all that. But I hope he takes this as, look, I lost. I'm going to learn a few things, and I'm going to go back in there again and then see what happens. Because he could end up fighting the winner of Fury and Joshua if that ever happens. He's still in a very, very good position. So another loss to Fury would have hurt him pretty damn bad, unless he loses a split decision or something, or lost a split decision. He got stopped again. That would have hurt. So now fortune has landed on Wilder as far as I'm concerned. I'm thinking, look, he can sit back, work on maybe improve some things, and then wait for some of these guys. Dillian Whyte is fighting Povetkin again. He could fight the winner of that fight and be right in line for the winner of Fury and Joshua, which will happen in 2021, hopefully. So this is good. If I'm Wilder's team, I'm not trying to talk Bob Arum back into a fight. Right. I'm saying, okay, fine. Wasn't meant to be. This is what I tell Wilder. Forget all the ego stuff. I said, look, wasn't meant to be. We weren't supposed to fight him again. Maybe down the road we'll get another chance, because if he beats Joshua, then we can fight him again. So no matter what, you win. It's all win-win here, bro. So just work on your game, get in great shape, have a tune-up fight or two, right back in the mix. So I think it's great for Wilder.
Well, Charles, I'm going to go back about 4 months, and I'm going to try and remember something you said. Roll the tape. Well, it's not on tape anymore, so I deleted those files. What you said was exactly what John just said now. This might be the best thing for him, because now it puts him in position. And I'm sorry to put words in your mouth, but this is what I'm going to do. If I remember right, you said that if Wilder loses to Fury, Wilder's done. There's no more money fight. If Wilder sits back and fights the winner of Fury, then he's got a chance to either to win that fight or lose that fight and still be the next guy up or whoever. So he can fight the winner of this fight. He can of the next fight that he's not in, or he can fight the loser of that fight, or a lot of other things.
Right.
You get Joshua. You get Joshua if he wins. You get Joshua if he loses, and then you get 2 fights out of it. So. Yeah. Where do you stand on that, or have you changed your mind in the last few months, or does that seem like it's a better deal for him?
I think it is, but I think with the only thing now is the factor that if he would have stepped back, he'd have got some more money. They would have paid him. They paid him.
Right, they would have paid him out of it. Right, exactly. Right.
They would have paid him to get out of the way, but this way he's still in the situation that, particularly when he changed, as John mentioned, when he changed his corner. You got a new corner. The more and more he can work with them and feel comfortable, I think is best. I think he let his ego get in the way. He always wanted to prove people that, I had a bad night. I'm going to come right back. I'm going to get this guy. I'm going to show y'all I'm still the king, bomb squad, all that, doing all that. But I think he was letting his ego get in the way. And as John mentioned, this might be the best thing, as we mentioned before, for him. Even though subtly he's still going to have to kind of come to grips with it. But that's why he's probably being quiet, okay? Just let it happen. Get out the way, don't say anything, let them fight. And he's going to benefit more if he lets them fight first. Because as I said before, if you fight Fury and you lose again, they're going to be looking side at you different kind of way, looking at you side-eye and going like, you really the guy we thought you were before, as you said about Lomachenko. He's just a kind of blowed up champion, doesn't have the skill set. He just happened to be a guy that just boom, just a guy that just knocked the hell out of people, not with any true skills, boxing-wise. But this way, he wins because now the person comes with the belts. If it's Joshua in the Fury fight, and they come in and go, okay, I'm going to put this on the line. I'm going to give you a shot. And then if you beat that guy, then you're right back on the mountaintop.
There's another around the corner, right?
Right, yeah, you're back on the mountaintop. And then 2, This does nothing but give you extra time to work with your new group. And you just got to be ready. Because if you come here right now and you say you want to fight and you, as you said before, you lose, it's like, how many times the man beat you? He beat you twice. Now what? I mean, you got to start fighting Dillian Whyte.
Where are you going to go? Right.
Yeah, we're not going to consider you in that. You're going to be that always the B side now. Simply because you can't beat this man. You can't beat this man. You've shown us you can't beat this man. You're not going to get a 4th fight. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So what are your options? So even though he might be feeling some kind of way, like that ego, you shouldn't have stopped to fight all the other crap, how he's feeling, that's ego just talking. lick your wounds, step back, take a chill, get ready for next year. And it's the best thing, the factor that this he's been kind of moved out of the way and waiting for the next opportunity.
Well, I think that if he would have lost to Fury, he's removed from the picture completely. So then let's say Fury beats Joshua. So the winner of Dillian Whyte and Povetkin would get Fury if he's still around, and Joshua would get the loser or something like that. I know there are other guys we're not considering right now that are going to step up their game in the next few months or so, but let's just look at it that way. If Fury loses and he still wants to stick around, he probably gets a rematch. I can't see anywhere where Wilder gets in the mix of those four guys. I can't, because it doesn't, on paper, I guess, if you're Povetkin and you lose, it doesn't do anything for you to fight Wilder, because that doesn't get you any further ahead, in my way of looking at it. So you're not going to fight him. If you're Whyte and lose, it's not going to do anything to fight him. If you win, it's definitely not going to do anything to fight him. You're going to probably fight Joshua if Joshua doesn't get blown out, to prove that, you know, it's now eye to eye, you know, apples to apples. I don't see where anyone is going to say, you know what, to prove I can beat Fury, I'm going to go fight Wilder. I just can't see it happening. Yeah, especially if –
and careers could change, Frank. If Povetkin gets beat by Whyte in the rematch, he's 40. He might say, see ya. If Whyte gets knocked out again, he's done. As far as I'm concerned, he was brutally knocked out a few months ago with an uppercut, and he gets knocked out again, he's done. So the whole heavyweight, some of it could change in the next 3 or 4 months. And if Wilder does like we're talking about, not that we're so smart, but well, Charles has got his master's degree, so you know he's got us whooped there, Frank. So, but if he that's why he said that so many months ago. See, he has us whooped. So, oh, there we go. There we go. So he just sits back and waits and works on his craft. And like I said, maybe he has a tune-up fight, not against anybody that can really beat him, just somebody that he can say, I'm back, bomb squad, right? I knocked him out in the first round. That's fine. But he's just working on his craft with Malik Scott and his team. He's in perfect position. He's got it. He's got whatever he wants. He should. I mean, no matter what people feel about his skills, he's still the former heavyweight champion of the world. He's still only lost one fight, right? The Fury fight, first one, okay, maybe you could make an argument, well, yeah, he lost that one too. But that's not what it says officially, right? He almost won. You could also say, he almost won in the 12th round too. What a great comeback that was. Almost knocked Fury out. No one ever almost knocked Fury out. He knocked him down twice. Who's been able to do that? So he's in a good position. So I hope he's going to be 35 next week. You talk about a great birthday present. If he sees it like this, if he sees it as, I was going to knock that, he's not thinking like we are, because he can't. He can't be thinking, oh, well, if I lose, he's thinking, I'm going to knock him out, right? Yeah. So he's in a good spot. Hopefully he takes advantage of it. Shelley Finkel is a very shrewd manager. He was with Tyson. He's got to be thinking, this is great news for my guy. You know, we're 2021 rolls around. We're right there. We're going to get another shot at the title. We might get Fury again. We want Joshua. I think he wants Joshua more than anything, and that would be fun.
Right. But see, if he saw it the way we saw it, as Charles said, he would have taken the money. He would have taken that, we're just going to pay you off and you step aside. So he doesn't see it like we see it.
Well, that's his ego.
But
and his athletic, his competitiveness too, his competitiveness. Right. So
if I were him, I'd probably go, no, I want a shot.
Right,
so
I know. As an athlete, you're going to say, no, I want this guy again. Right. I carried 50 pounds of stuff on my shoulders. I was exhausted by the time I got to the ring. I'm not this time. I'm not going to have robe on this time. I'm just going into my trunks like Tyson. I'm just going to
come out in his underwear, right?
That's right. So I'm good. I'll be good this time. So yeah, I get that too. That's why I thought the fight would happen. So hopefully he sees the other side.
Well, I think that it's one of those situations where, like you said, management's going to have to say, look, dude, this is a smart thing. Do it this way. This is a smart way to go. We need to take advantage of this. As Charles said, it's been thrown in our laps. Wow, how lucky did we get?
Gift.
Yeah, and I know that that's, again, from his perspective, it's going to be hard to understand. But if you pull it out kind of the way we did, it works out better for him, I think. He'll have more options, and even if something happens against Fury, he may have other options after that. Whereas you lose to Fury, I think that's it. You're done. So,
right.
Okay. Now, we won't, as Charles said, and we got this, we got that, we got another. We'll get into all that stuff later. I think the nice thing about boxing being back is we don't have to plot out the next 8 months of fights, because we can go next week and go, now there's this fight, and now there's this fight on Halloween, and then we won't even get to what those are. People, if you want to look at a schedule, I suggest you go to ESPN. No, just kidding. ESPN.com has all the boxing schedules available for your convenience. So,
Frank has sold out, Charles. He's totally sold out. It's sad to see.
It is.
Look, I had a soul. I wasn't using it. I figured, what do I need it for?
Yeah, Charles too. I'm the only one. I got the Film Noir shirt on. No ESPN from my end. So
I'm sold out. I'm wearing a Buffalo Braves jersey.
Yeah, he's Bob McAdoo right there.
Yeah,
he's Bob McAdoo.
They have been in Buffalo.
I'm trying to help Frank out. You know,
Charles is such a nice guy.
Yeah, I am.
Buffalo Braves franchise just fired Doc Rivers, so that tells you how. Anyway, all right. So here's what I suggest we do, gentlemen. We have the potential for some live guests here coming up in the next few weeks, which would be great, or taped guests, or however we do it. We're reaching more people, folks. We're reaching more people in the business. So people are paying attention to what we're doing, and people are going, hey, it wouldn't suck to be on this show, you know. And we want to thank the people we've had on this show. Darnell Boone for kicking things off. That was very nice of him to join us, and that's giving more people an option of hey, we'd like to see other guests. You know, I've had at least half a person ask me that question. So, it's 0.5, I have 0.67 of our respondents or something like that. Going up, right? If you're getting this show via the website, the Ultimate Sports Network website, you've got all our links to all our stuff. That comes right on the page, and then you watch the videos and go from there. If you're not, however, this would be a good time for us to recap where everything can be found. So, Charles, we'll start with you. Where can you be found on all the different stuffs and manuscripts coming up and whatever you want the people to know about? Because I noticed something happened in the last few days that hadn't been going on for a while. So go right ahead.
Anyway, you know something I don't know. Anyway, let's start with the Reality of Sports. So that's Reality of Sports on Facebook, also realityofsports.com, kind of changing up things a little bit too. Also on the Goon Squad Sports Radio Show, doing some things over there. And I'm going to let Frank tell you about something else that he realized and whatever else he's going. So that's all I have.
Well, that's what I was going to say. The Goon Squad had been dark for a while, and was that their first show back last week or this week or?
It's been a couple shows, but we're back. We took a little hiatus, but the one thing you can't find on Reality of Sports, you can find late breaking, also old footage of the Goon Squad Sports Radio Show, also along with this show. So you can go back to the Reality of Sports and watch the videos. One click, right in the mix.
All set. Okay, since we have a poster of naked men behind you instead of your books. I don't know what.
They're not naked men, Frank.
I'm sorry. I don't know what. I'm just going to shut up and. Hi, John. So what do you have to say?
Gosh, I can't do that. It's a virtual background. Try to turn the background. Well, you know, Max Boxing, we always, just real fast, I always try for different angles in a sense with Max Boxing because you get the same a lot. And then I don't mean to be putting anybody down, but as far as other boxing sites, but my goal is always to try to go at it from a different angle, like I tried to do with Lomachenko and getting annoyed at whatever. I mean, someone else might have done it, but that's my goal always. And I got some good people that are writing for us. So check us out at www.maxboxing.com. Just give us a look. You know, that's all I'm asking. We got videos too. We got Teofimo, and we got Lomachenko, and we got all of that stuff. And then, of course, the books that Frank mentioned that I usually have displaying very subtly behind me, which of course is not true. Next week's going to be a big poster with it right there behind me. A few more rounds came out a week ago. Finally, waiting for a first review. I thought maybe one of you guys might have got it and be writing a review, but unfortunately, I'm brokenhearted. Neither of you have got a copy. So maybe I'm going to have to send you one, I guess. But I'm waiting for the Oh, yeah, there we go. They're both. Yeah, there we go. So waiting for that first review so I can splash it all over Facebook. But a few more rounds. It's the thing that it is, guys, is it's different than like one of my notebook that I'm so proud of. The second one, and then Intimate Warfare. This one is, I got to throw them all in, Frank. This one is more personal in the sense that I talk about things that happened to me when I was a kid and in Oklahoma in the 1960s with Muhammad Ali, and admiring Muhammad Ali in the 1960s in Oklahoma was not a very, very popular activity, according to the adults that lived on the street. So I had an experience with them, with my dad, and then later on we went to the Olympics for the first time in the 70s. I talk all about that. And then Jerry talks about his encounters with Tony Sale and Emil Griffith and Archie Moore and Joey Maxim. He's another generation, so he goes back further. And then other things like Carson, when Carson City, Nevada, when we went there and we found some landmarks. So it's very personal. Movies, I even got to throw my favorite subject in there, movies about boxing movies. So it's not just run of the mill is what I guess I'm trying to say. It's a potpourri of all kinds of different things. So, and the advanced comment I got from somebody is they thought it was great. So that's what you obviously strive for, especially when you haven't paid them yet, Frank. So, you know, that's always a good thing too. So a few more rounds. It's on Amazon. So is Blood in My Notebook and Intimate Warfare. Sorry to take over there, like Teofimo saying to take over. Didn't mean to do that, but just wanted to give everybody a little bit of background on a few more rounds. And the books, all of them are on Amazon.com for your pleasure.
Not ESPN.
Not ESPN. Is this the last day of the? Well, by the time I post it, it won't be. Never mind. I was gonna say Prime Day or whatever it is there at Amazon. So you can get it, but we won't say that anyway. Okay. Well, my excuse is that I have plenty of books that unfortunately I have stacked in front of yours to read, and I think I've made it to the Bobbsey twins right now. So I'm So anyway, all right. Sometimes I crack myself up for no reason whatsoever. From my perspective, we're still plugging away at the Ultimate Sports Network, Ultimate Sports Network TV, all that good fun stuff. Basically what we've been doing for the last few months, we've added one interesting little twist into things. So we've become, I don't know if involved is the right word, but I've been approached by some people and we're helping them with the Negro League Baseball Museum. And they're the sports artists that have been doing work with them. And some of the art, if you're not an artist, you're going to say, what in the heck am I looking at here? Baseball card size portraits that when you look at it, you're like, well, that's a pretty good picture. Then you realize at scale, it's the size of a baseball card. And to mention several other people that have been involved in it, had a chance to have them on one of my other shows last week. It's an amazing project of what they're working on to provide funding and awareness of the Negro League Baseball Museum and all the stories that they're within. It's been a lot of fun. Like I said, I am not an artist, but I appreciate art and the various ways you can go about doing things. And these are some of the best artists in the country right now, and they're working on sports and sport-themed ideas. So, and they also work for commissions as well. So if you have something you want them to do, go to Ultimate Sports Network, check out some of the links, and you'll be able to find these guys, and they'll be more than happy to paint for money. So there are a lot of things that are happening in the world that we're talking about, a lot of good things. We forget about all the negative things that people just keep pounding in our heads because there are a lot of positive things we can talk about as well. So This has been, again, Ultimate Sports TV, the real boxing talk show. When's the last time I messed that up? It's been almost a year now.
I know.
That it's kind of scary. It's like I can actually use my tongue now. Well, that's another story for another show. But anyhow,
Yes, naked man
on that
using
note,
your tongue. I don't know, Frank. I don't know where you're going with this stuff. I'm going to leave it alone, but I just didn't. So
I've been inside by myself for too long, I guess. I don't know.
Look at Charles.
On that note, thank you very much for joining us, folks. Look, we have a lot of fun doing this, obviously.
Always.
We hope that you come back for us. And you know, this is not canned laughter. This is really us cackling at will. So thanks again. Enjoy your day. Enjoy your week. Enjoy your life. And we'll be back with you next week.
Enjoy the fights.
And enjoy the fights, exactly. Thank you. Live long and prosper.